लैंग्वेज?
इंग्लिश।
पैदा कहाँ हुई हैं आप?
पाकिस्तान में।
पाकिस्तान की तो हमारी लैंग्वेज उर्दू नहीं है?
No, it's not. At least not according to their most recent census. 39.2% of Pakistanis speak Punjabi as their first language. Only 10.6% Pakistanis speak Urdu as their first language or mother language. And this data doesn't take into account those affected by colonial legacy, that is Urdu, where they ditch their mother tongue Punjabi and its regional dialects in the favor of Urdu. Urdu is an indigenous language of Pakistan. In fact, it is as foreign as English to Pakistan. I know this may have come as a shock to all of you, trolling Malika for stating that English is her first language, whereas she herself said that she was born in Sialkot, Pakistan. So a quick lesson with references to all those Pakistanis with extremely privileged backgrounds or those living abroad that cannot digest the fact that a girl like Malika, who was from an underprivileged background, was able to build her empire while sitting in Pakistan using English language. The hate she's getting for her statement is telltale of colonial legacy and bubble of delusion that most of us privileged Pakistanis have chosen for ourselves. Urdu wasn't even invented till 19th century, just so you know. Amir Khusru was not an Urdu poet. He was a poet of a language called Hindustani, which was franca lingua of places like Ganga, Yamuna, Doab, that is Delhi, Meerut, and Saharangpur. Urdu, my friends, was a brainchild of a Scottish person working for the East India Company called John B. Gilchrist that concocted Urdu by tweaking Hindustani, the original Lashkari Zuban, into adding more Persian and Arabic influence and standardizing the script, that is taking the script from Arabic language loaned by the Persians and then by Baba Farid for writing Punjabi, and it was known as Shahmukhi. So the script that is being used in Urdu right now has been loaned from so many different other languages to begin with. Hindi was also his brainchild, where he added more Sanskrit, standardized the script for Hindi as Nagari, Devanagari. And this all happened at Fort William College, Calcutta, where he was the principal. It was originally a seminary to teach English people the franca lingua or the local languages for their benefit, so that they can colonize us better. And since it was proving for them exceedingly difficult to learn so many different languages, they were like, let's stick to Hindustani. Even Hindustani wasn't that prevalent, so they were like, oh, let's make it a bit more, religion specific, because Hindustani in itself was a religiously neutral language. Whereas when English people came, like Mr. Gilchrist, he made sure that Muslims, due to their partiality towards Persian, Arabic script, and words, would hop onto the Urdu bandwagon, and same for those that were more familiar with Sanskrit and Nagari, Devanagari script, would hop on to Hindi bandwagon. So that is how the franca lingua of the subcontinent got split up into two new languages, Urdu and Hindi. In terms of linguistically, grammatically speaking, or academically speaking, they're pretty much the same language, but with different scripts and different inclination in terms of what loan words they would like to use more. The Hindustani language was created around about 13th century under the auspices of Mughal Empire, where the rulers were like more familiar with Arabic and Persian, whereas the ones they were ruling over were all from different ethnic backgrounds and linguistic backgrounds. So it was proving exceedingly difficult for them, again, to communicate with them, because Persian despite being the language of the state, was something that not everybody was well versed in. Still, they were using their own indigenous scripts and languages to converse. So for a posh person to talk to an average Joe, they needed a language. So that's how Hindustani came into existence. And then English came, and they were like, how do we split people based on religion and divide them further using linguistics? By the way, Mr. Gilchrist himself was not even a linguist. He was a failed businessman, failed banker. He had his education in medicine, but he ended up doing things which were completely not his forte. So if you talk about Hindustani Boli, the OG Lashkari language, the main ingredient in the language was the Khadi Boli, the Puadi. It is a dialect of Punjabi, and that was the main structure forming language of Hindustani. Even Amir Khusro, who is more commonly known as a Hindavi or Hindustani poet, wrote in Punjabi back in the days. And then obviously it had words from Turkic, Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, and many other languages that were indigenous as well as non-indigenous to the region. Gilchrist achieved bifurcation of Hindustani language into Hindi and Urdu in the 19th century at Fort William College, Calcutta. So how did this language come to Punjab, or what is known as now Pakistan? You do know that modern day Pakistan is Sapta Sindhu, the land of the Indus, and Indus Valley civilization is not just Mohenjo-daro, it's also Harappa, and then there is Mehergarh in Balochistan and Gandhara in KPK, which originally was NWFP, which before 1901 was also part of Punjab. But then when British came, they also separated that and called it NWFP. They just tore us apart. People that were sharing cultural, linguistic identities. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh ruled Punjab from 1801 to 1839. A couple Anglo-Sikh wars. I have a problem with how these wars are called, but anyways, another video, another topic, another time. Coming back to how Urdu came to our part of the world. So after complete takeover, like I said, on 2nd of April 1849, British completely takes over, but it's not swift, smooth takeover, because now every Punjabi is fighting the British. So in 1857, the last man standing between Punjab and British was Rai Ahmed Kharal. Punjab actually fought a tooth and a nail with the British. 10 years fast forward after Maharaja Ranjit Singh's passing away, and British are still fighting the Punjabis because they felt that they are fighting as a unit. They do not identify as Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, or whatever. They are fighting British back as Punjabis, and this was really problematic for them. So they had to involve a lot of traitors to fight Rai Ahmed Kharal, for instance, who even at the age of 80 refused to join hands with the British. The British wanted his horses, and they were like, no, we don't do that. Punjabis don't do that. Our women, our animals, and our land is ours. We don't give it to colonizers. So Rai Ahmed Kharal, numerous accounts say that he was shot from the back while he was praying, and this was involvement of a traitor who was promised lots and lots of land and power if they helped British against Rai Ahmed Kharal. However, this didn't stop, and the British realized that for them to successfully take over Punjab, they have to divide Punjab linguistically and take Punjabi away from them. Despite a lot of protests from local Punjabis with regards to changing of language from Punjabi to Urdu, in 1882, Urdu was made the official language of Punjab, stating various reasons and not taking into account the actual grievances of the people that were about to lose their mother tongue as a medium of education. After Urdu gets made the official language of Punjab, obviously people are not happy, but it's kind of forced on them by virtue of better jobs or survival. So they literally collect all the qaidas of but the Punjabi Qaidas that Maharaja Ranjit Singh worked on, and which really uplifted the condition of the state, and the literacy rate was great. In fact, there is this English researcher Lettner who wrote in great detail about how amazing literacy rate was, and the system of education was great, and that the literacy rate declined right after British took over and when they replaced the indigenous language from Punjabi to Urdu. So now what's happening, that people are being forced into ditching their mother tongue if they want better jobs and if they want to survive. So all the job prospects and promotions and everything was linked to learning Urdu, particularly the white collar jobs. So just now, as we see that in Pakistan, if somebody wants to do well in studies, they go abroad for higher studies, they need to know good English. If they want a certain promotion or better jobs, white collar jobs, they need to be good at English, because guess what? Which language is the state's official language alongside Urdu? It is English, and all of our work in Pakistan, bureaucracy, you name it, military, all the offices, official work is conducted in English language. So for you to progress and do well in all these jobs, you need to know now English. So similar was the case back in the days when British came over, because they were like, you know what, we don't want to teach them English yet. Let them learn another language and ditch their original language. And then they did it so that they get divided into Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs as well. So they keep fighting, and it's easier for the English people to take over. Their literacy rate is gonna go like take a nosedive. That's good for us because less educated people are easier to control. So when Malika says her first language is English, she is just doing what all your forefathers did. They ditched their mother tongue Punjabi for Urdu for better jobs. So Malika is smart. I think she's quite intelligent, and she, despite not coming from a privileged background, she understands the significance of English. And I normally make my videos in Punjabi, but for your benefit, because I know most of you don't even speak proper Punjabi, your Urdu is abysmal as well. Proper Urdu is spoken by a minority of Pakistanis. Not everybody can speak proper Urdu because it is not the language of the surrounding. And I heard this rebuttal by one of a self-proclaimed linguist, yes. Self-proclaimed linguist, where she said, oh, you know, we hear Urdu, and whereas her Urdu was pretty bad. Her Urdu was pretty bad, to be honest. But this is how us Punjabis speak Urdu. We speak Urdu with an accent. But it's funny that people sitting abroad find it hilarious that somebody who was born in Sialkot is not stating Urdu as their first language, because it is not. Urdu is not Malika's first language. It is Punjabi. And since Punjabi is not being taught in the school, it is being associated with crass things and lewd things. So why would she own Punjabi? Also, knowing Punjabi will not get her anywhere. And that is the case with Urdu now. So why do you feel bad about Urdu, which is not even the indigenous language of Pakistan, which is not even her language or your, for a fact? Majority of Pakistanis have got nothing to do with Urdu. It's just one of the languages of the state. And even the state do not function in Urdu because they do most of their work in English. So yeah, I really don't understand that why Malika is getting all the hate for just stating the obvious, like, well, I want to progress, I want to do better. And look at her account. I did not even know about her up until this debacle of, Malika shaming started happening. She's good. I mean, learning a language where the language is not the language of the region is normally linked with high privilege or people with a lot of money or resources and links. And she didn't have any of that, and still she managed to build an empire and do quite well. And that's why she probably got invited into this show that she's in, and people are watching her, and a lot of people like her, a lot of people follow her. So my question is, what is your problem? I think your problem is you yourself do not know the history quite well. Urdu is also not our language. It was Punjabi. It is Punjabi. And it will be Punjabi. The capitalistic mindset is that if a language is not helping you make any sort of profit or money or any like tangible contribution towards your life or somebody else's life or in general, that language is not worth learning. Speaking Urdu in plays which are like for a niche community, they do not cater to wider Pakistan. In fact, they make fun of the indigenous communities of Pakistan. Like there was this show I was watching, and in that show, this lady, oh, it's called Main Manto Nahi, something like that. And one of the actors, she was talking with her servant in Punjabi. So as soon as the servant walks in, she would speak to her in Punjabi, and then she would switch back to Urdu. Oh my God, talk about classism and ridiculing an indigenous language. So Urdu is only good for the fact if you want to work in Pakistani media, and even frankly speaking, a lot of people working in Pakistani dramas and films do not speak proper Urdu either. Their Urdu is heavily accented, and they mispronounce words. Facts. Anyways, take care. I hope you learned your lesson today. So before taking a dig at someone, know your history.